How's it going, everybody? It's Charlie, and welcome back to the Chatting Leeds YouTube channel. And it's time for your match review of Tottenham 4, Leeds United 3. A very end-to-end game, a very good game if you're a neutral. Good game for Leeds for the majority, but we finished the game very, very poorly. Just before we get into it, please smash that like button as always. Please subscribe if you're new to the channel and share all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. So yeah, as you can tell, I do feel a bit flat after that. I think there was a lot of different emotions going through that game. Like I just said there, I actually felt for the majority that Leeds were quite good in the game. Obviously, Spurs have quality, which is what I think kind of won them the game in the end. I just think that they just had the better quality and it showed in the end. But yeah, for the large part, I thought Leeds were good in the game. I thought we pressed them to death in that first half. I felt at times that they were struggling to cope with our press, which was very good. Obviously, I said in my preview that I felt Leeds United would have some joy in the press because Spurs are a team that don't like to be pressed. And it was quite evident in that first half. I thought Leeds started the game off well, really good spells of possession. And then obviously we take the lead through Crescencio Somerville. 4 goals in 4 now. Unbelievable for him. Really pleased that it's working out for him at the moment. Really good finish as well. Nice through ball from Brendan Aronson. And he slots it home to make it 1-0. And at that point, I think Leeds, when I say comfortable, Leeds are never comfortable. But I felt quite at ease watching it at that point when we took the lead. I felt it was deserved. Tottenham's equalising goal is a weird one. I don't think any Leeds players really at fault for it. It shouldn't have stood, plain and simple. I've seen it on Twitter. I've seen it, even the pundits on the stream that I was watching it on. Mate of mine said even the BT Sport people, Sky Sports, Soccer Saturday, that everybody was suggesting that it wasn't a goal and that it would be overturned. And it wasn't, so there must be a new rule in football now where you're allowed to lean in to the keeper to the point where he falls on the floor. You're obstructing the keeper, and then you're allowed to score from that, and it's allowed to be given because it's Harry Kane and is the England captain. But anyway, we move on. Even at 1-1 though, I didn't. Obviously, Spurs were having a lot of the ball, and they were getting into some dangerous areas, but they weren't really doing much with it. Emerson Royal missed a sitter in that first half. He skied it from about 10 yards out, I'd say. And yeah, I was quite happy if it had have gone in level at the break. I'd have been quite comfortable with that. But then obviously Rodrigo pulls it out of the bag and puts Leeds United 2-1 up at the break. I think Spurs kind of fall asleep a little bit with the little flicked on header, and the finish is just insane really when you think about it. Yes, the keeper does get a touch to it, but the fact that's one of them where if it either goes right up in the air or it gets on target, and thank God he got it on target. And it's 2-1 at the break, and obviously we all know as Leeds fans that never means you're comfortable. Even though I did think in the first half that Leeds were defensively sound. But obviously, like I said, Spurs were creating some good chances for themselves. Kulusevski, Kane, Richarlison all looked very, very dangerous in that first half. So I knew that it was not going to be plain sailing in the second half, and it was far from it, of course. Obviously, Spurs equalise again quite early on in the second half. Through Ben Davies again. Is Meslier at fault? No, there's about 5 or 6 Leeds players in front of him. I don't know how it manages to get through everyone, but it does, and it goes in, and it's 2-2. I said 2-2 in my preview, so at that point I was thinking, I think that was a bit early for it to be 2-2. I thought I was, saying to Arlas, because obviously she's sat downstairs with me watching it, I said, this is not going to finish 2-2. I said, someone will win this game. But at that point, it was quite hard to see who would, because I felt like Leeds were still competing quite well in the game. Again, there was a few half moments for Spurs. They were getting in behind. And then Rodrigo puts Leeds United 3-2 up with about 13 minutes left, I believe. Really good through ball from Mark Rocker. And yeah, it's another really good finish from Rodrigo, and it's 2 goals for him, which obviously now we've lost the game will kind of get forgotten about. But, 4 goals in 4 for Crescencio and 5 goals in 4 for Rodrigo, which is, really good return at the minute. But the lead did not last long. It lasted about 3 or 4 minutes. Then Bentancur equalises, and we fell asleep from a Spurs throw-in. I just think the defending was quite good up until the 80th minute, and the capitulation, it just fell apart. There's the famous song, Leeds are falling apart. We did fall apart in that last 10 minutes. People might agree, people might not, that's fine. But the defending in that last 10 minutes was shocking. And Spurs took well advantage of that. Bentancur equalises to make it 3-3. You could hear the noise in the Spurs stadium erupting. And they just had the tails up. And it was the most fit and energetic that Spurs were in the whole game in that last 10 minutes. Because even though they'd scored a couple of goals, they weren't frantic, they weren't in our faces at all in the game, I didn't think there were anything special, really. But in that last 10 minutes, they really turned it on. Obviously, as I just said, they equalised at 3-3 through Bentancur. And then that fourth one is just really poor defending again. We just switch off again. It's just so easy for him to play it down that line into the box, and Bentancur again, I think his goals were 2 minutes apart, and they make it 4-3. And look, it's a shame that we've managed to lose out and not get anything from that game, because we competed so well. I'm not massively disheartened. I am disappointed, of course. Of course I am massively disappointed that we've not got anything from the game. However, I saw someone tweet it out saying that Leeds will be completely fine come the end of the season. I don't know about completely fine, but I think if we can keep competing in games like this, and if we have the fight and desire to come back in games like we did against Bournemouth, look, I know for the majority, the Bournemouth game was awful. But we managed to grind it out. So if we can keep grinding results out against teams like that, if we can compete well enough against teams like Tottenham and such, like we beat Liverpool, beaten Chelsea, just lost out against Arsenal, and we've just lost out against Tottenham. That's 4 really, really top teams in the league that we've done quite well against this season, which is a positive to take. Obviously, another positive, we saw Gnonto finally get a start in the league. Did come off at half-time. I think he must have had a little niggle because he was getting kicked about, wanted quite a lot, took a few blows. Thought it was quite good, thought it was decent. I think he offered a little bit more than what Jack Harrison has of late. Apparently Harrison travelled, but he wasn't in the squad. I think Marsh's subs were a bit questionable, to say the least. Obviously, I didn't mind the Greenwood sub, obviously, after how he performed last week against Bournemouth. The Ayling one I thought was timed quite well after the third goal from Leeds from Rodrigo. But again, he brings Joffrey on when the game's pretty much over. 2 minutes to go, really, of normal time, and it's like, I thought it was the one of the best young talents in the Premier League, and he's getting, 5 minutes at the end of the game? 5, 6 minutes? It's not good enough. I do think tactically, for the large spell, he got it right today, I suppose. But the last 10 minutes, that I think the formation changed when he put Ayling on, and it kind of just messed with everything. Obviously, another huge thing from today's game as well is that Tyler Adams got a red card. 2 yellows, so he'll have a 1-game suspension. And who's that game against? Man City, after the World Cup. Brilliant. So we're probably going to see, could JB play against his former team in that one? Could he trust Sam Greenwood in there with Mark Rocker? I don't know. It might play Click in there. God knows. I just feel a bit deflated after that. I think there was a lot of really good moments in it. That's the really strange thing about today's game. It was really good for 78, 80 minutes. But then that last 10 minutes, we literally just fell to bits. We lost focus, we lost concentration. I didn't keep our minds on the task. And Spurs' quality showed in the end. If I'm being petty, I would say it should be 3-3 because that Harry Kane goal was never a goal. In my opinion, that should never have been allowed. But you can't just put all the blame on that. You know, we're at fault for a lot in that last 10 minutes. So easy for Kulusevski and may have been Højbjerg, whoever it was, just playing those 1-2s down the wing. And no one's tracking the run of Bentancur for both his goals. So yeah, I'm a little bit. Well, I'm very disappointed, very frustrated. But there are a lot of positives to take from the game at the same time as well. Somerville's on fire. Rodrigo's 2 goals. Gnonto finally getting a start. I thought a lot of the players played really well. As I said, I thought defensively in the first half, I thought we were fine. Coped with their pressure quite well. But then the last 10 minutes, I just don't know what happened. I think it was the change of formation when Luke Ayling come on. I really do. I think it confused them. Lost track of the game. They lost focus, like I just said. And yeah, it's disappointing. But obviously, we've got a break now. We've got, 5-6 weeks off until that Man City game at Ellen Road after the World Cup. We've only got 3 players that are going to the World Cup, which could be a blessing in disguise for us. It gives Marsh time to have those players in training and have them working, hopefully on new tactics, hopefully on a system that plays with width, because that'd be nice. But yeah, it's nice knowing that we don't have to stress about Leeds for a few weeks now, and we can just stress about England. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there, guys, before I just keep waffling on. So if you've enjoyed this somehow, please smash that like button. Please subscribe if you're new to the channel as well, and share all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. And I'll be back tomorrow with my final say on the game as well. So make sure that you tune in for that, and I'll see you in a bit. Cheers.